Welcome back to the Dreamlit podcast. It has been such a long time since I actually done an episode, but I asked my friend, because he's around right now, if he wanted to join me and talk about business school, because business school, actually, I've been very curious about it for a while, like whether it's worth it, whether, maybe I should try attending, getting an MBA, like what are the benefits of it, right? I hear a lot of great things about it. So today we have my friend. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, my name is Rohan. I just graduated from the Wharton Business School over in UPenn. And yeah, I'm happy to share all my thoughts about business school, about why you should or shouldn't go, and pretty much any questions Scott may have to ask.
Yep. So let's get started. Yeah. Actually, before we even started recording, I had no idea which school Rohan went to. I just knew he came back for a bit. We hung out, and then that's when I figured out that you went to that's when I figured out that you were done with school. And I was like, business school, huh?
Yeah.
I hear so much about it. I want to learn more about it from someone I actually know instead of looking it up, because at this point you can look up anything, right? But it's better if you have a personal source, in my opinion. It's more interesting that way.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's probably partially my fault. People have said I'm mysterious, completely accidental. I should be more proactive in saying what I'm up to, but yeah. Absolutely.
No, that's good. What was the school called again?
So I went to I did my MBA at Wharton. So basically,
okay.
This is UPenn's business school. So
Got it.
The Wharton MBA.
Got it. And you mentioned that it's like the big three, right?
Yeah, people will debate with me on this, but effectively, if you look at business school rankings, generally you'll see probably Stanford at number 1, Harvard at number 2, and then Wharton number 3, Chicago Booth, Columbia, and I think maybe Ross, Michigan, is up there. But there's just generally it's interesting if you go down the business school rabbit hole. There's kind of different tiers. So there's the M3, which is the top 3. Then there's the M7, which is the top 7.
Okay.
The M15, and then
how much does it matter that you go to that school for the MBA?
I think this is not my opinion, but I think when I was going down this rabbit hole, people would say that if you're not going to the M3 or the M7, it's not worth going at all.
Ah, okay. So the school matters a lot.
It specifically because the MBA is a very particular and specific type of degree. It's
gotcha.
And I think and I will caveat this by saying, at the end of the day, you should do the things that interest you. If you want to learn about business, an MBA is absolutely a good way, and in the school doesn't matter that much because that's something you're passionate about. But the main reason that people go to business school oftentimes is to get a large paycheck and make a lot of money.
Gotcha.
And for that, the school matters a lot because a lot of companies specifically recruit for those roles out of the M3, the M7.
Right.
And
what kind of jobs come out of that?
So that's actually the main reason of going to business school. The tried and true kind of methodology is to go into business school and then come out with the consulting or investment banking. Those are kind of the two big ones, consulting and investment banking.
So maybe consulting, what do you consult like?
Yeah, so there's a few companies that are kind of similar in the tier list. There's people call it MBB, which is McKinsey, Bain, and people are gonna flame me for forgetting the third one. I'm a startup founder. I'm a startup founder.
It doesn't matter. It's just a label or name or something.
And BCG, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But basically, the way it works is you go to business school and then you end up getting you go through a very structured recruiting process, and a lot of business schools specifically prepare you to enter those roles. There's a bunch of peers, the main value of business school for at least in my experience has been sort of the network. You're going in with people that have an average of 5 years of work experience. So you've worked for 5 years, you've made a decent amount of money, and now you want to either take a 1 to 2 year kind of break to then network and find your next opportunity, or you really want to use this as your one shot to leapfrog your career. And then and again, on average, most people try to go in for consulting and investment banking, and both of those roles tend to give you, depending on the school, the
more
exit,
money.
Yeah, the exit opportunity is generally after 150,000 plus.
Okay, so a lot of people do that. They go into a business school expecting to come out landing a job that gives you 150K plus a year.
Exactly.
Gotcha. And if they want to land that job, then they have to be at one of those top 7 schools, like you said.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they have to, but like your odds increase. So like you can almost think of it like a funnel. Like let's say McKinsey has, like 30 spots to fill.
Like you could still go to a school that maybe isn't top 7, but you did super well or something. Or,
yeah, exactly. Versus like if out of the 30 spots they have to fill, they might fill 10 from like the top 3 schools, and then the top like 15 or 20 from the top 7 schools, and then the other schools have other spots open.
Makes sense.
Because again, it's a very structured process, and people don't realize how structured it is. From August until maybe like December, there are specific internship roles available because everyone is basically trying to recruit for an internship over the summer, and that internship becomes a full-time opportunity. So from August till September till December, people are grinding. Like if you're trying to go for one of these jobs, you are cold calling, you are emailing, you are on LinkedIn, reaching out to everyone you know and trying to like connect and kind of go through this like process. And
what does a because I'm clueless about all of these things.
Yeah.
What does a consultant and business like investment person do?
Yeah. So there's like, I guess we can go through each of these careers like in kind of a little bit of detail. So let's start with consulting. So consulting oftentimes is a job that you are being like, is like at a high level, it's basically, I'm a company that's like, I'm not a let's take an example. I used to work for a company called Oaktree. And when I was at Oaktree, we hired consultants to basically, for many different purposes, but one of the purposes is we had to do this big, complex project. And in this project, we had a bunch of internal staff working on it, but it was so complex and the bar for success was so important that we needed a second opinion, an external opinion. So consultants are really 2 things. One, they're outside expertise, right? So someone who can come in, who's incredibly intelligent and smart, can understand what your company is doing really quickly, and then kind of provide a solution or outside opinion on what you should do. So that's like kind of one, but like in practice, like even if you're good enough to know what to do without the consultant, consultants are also insurance. So the way you should think about it is like, imagine I have this, I'm at Oaktree and it's my job on the line for this big recommendation that's going to cost the company, tens of millions of dollars. Right. So now if it goes wrong, I'm basically fired.
Yeah. But if you hire a consultant and they say the exact same thing.
Yeah. It is their fault. So that's what I mean by insurance. It's very like, it's useful. So there's the big 3, the MBBs, like what they do is they hire the smartest people they can. And because they're hiring from these top schools, they can say, hey, we have the smartest people in the world at the school, like to look at your project, and then charge the customer more. So they can afford to pay you that $200K salary because they're charging the customer more than that because you're top talent.
Right.
And that's also like its own pipeline. Like a bunch of consulting schools will.
So if you're a consultant, like let's say, thanks for the info. It was really solidly given. I'm just talking like an idiot right now, but
maybe don't be a consultant.
I probably don't want to be a consultant, but for a consultant though, do you work for a firm that is like meant for consultants? That this firm has good consultants or something, and then you hire people from that firm that are consultants, or are people like freelance where they just try to, consult on a freelance basis or something?
In general, one is a pathway to another. So the first is the pathway to the second, which means that you're going to business school to get a job at one of these like top tier consulting firms, because they have inherent brand and reputation. Generally what happens is you either stay at that firm and, you work your way up. Like if you make your way to partner, you could be making $500,000 plus.
Nice.
Right. Or you decide to leave and then now you have on your resume, like you can do your own freelance consulting, but you say you have experience at McKinsey, and then suddenly you're like a hot commodity because you have that and you can charge higher rates than before.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but in general, like most of the time we talk about consulting in the business school context, we're talking about going to a firm that specializes in consulting services.
Right. What did you do for business school?
Yeah, so for me personally, like I've been really interested in entrepreneurship and starting a company. So I may not be the right type of person to go to business school. Like it was much more entrepreneurial, and like I wanted to go in and like kind of treat the 2 years as an opportunity to explore building a startup.
That's what I first imagine too, actually, is what business school would help you with is starting your own business. But what you basically just said is something I never knew about, which is like business consulting and all that stuff. You're literally going to school to, I'm assuming, get really, really good at understanding businesses and how they work so you can consult other people on whether or not they're going to have a good business or doing good things or making good decisions, right, for their business.
Yeah.
So it's like almost studying up like the theory, and I'm assuming they take like real study cases and whatnot and then figure out like what went wrong, what went well, and break everything down, understand. Yeah.
Exactly. And different schools to do different things. So for example, like one of the biggest differences between Harvard and Wharton was Harvard is really famous for being incredibly case-based. So almost every class is like didactic case methodology.
Got it.
Here's, you're in the situation that happened in real life. How would you react? Where like Wharton has differences, like does some case studies, but also has a lot of like other styles of teaching, and the classroom setting is a little bit different.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. I never knew any of that. So,
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. Wow.
Yeah, and to your point, right? It's not like the things I learned at Wharton aren't going to be helpful in my business. I think that's always going to be true. Like it is important to
Right.
learn things.
Because technically, if you do understand the business theory and all that stuff, then in theory, you can start your own business and do well in it.
Exactly. It just, the trade-offs in general don't make sense for starting a business. If you think about it like a lot in a very like
Monetary sense?
Yeah, monetary sense and kind of logical sense. Let's say I'm at point, let's say I'm someone considering to go to business school to start my own business, right? So from that point, you have two outcomes. You can either go to business school or not go to business school. If you don't go to business school, you start the startup right now, right?
Yeah.
If you do go to business school, you are either starting the startup in business school or starting it after, right?
Yeah.
Now think about like from a startup perspective, or if you're like starting a business, like it takes a lot of upfront investment, and more than that, like investment in terms of both money and time to get any business off the ground. And if you have a thought, if you're choosing between starting a business and going to business school, like going to business school, you're either going to end up $200,000 in debt, or you're going to take loans unless you have a ton of savings to be able to afford that.
Right.
And then in 2 years, you're basically at the same position you were before, just armed with new knowledge.
Yeah.
So the argument that I'm trying to make, and that a lot of people have made to me, both going into business school and during, was like, if you're trying to build a startup, why not just put that 200,000 and invest in yourself and like build the business, right?
And that's where the question comes from. Is it worth going to business school? And I guess it depends, like, what your goal is. And so why did you do it? If you, with that logic, it's like, why not invest the 200,000 in your business versus in the knowledge?
Yeah, 100%. And it's a great question. And I think like for me personally, it was kind of a combination of two things. Like one, I wasn't sure 100% what I wanted to do. Like if I wanted to like go straight and build a business versus whether I wanted to, like go and keep a career path. And to me, I treated it as like almost a 2-year experiment where I could do the business, like start building the business on the side, start going into it without the risk of just going fully into it.
Yeah.
The way I kind of think about business school in a way is almost like an option. I don't know if your viewers are like familiar with like finance theory, but I'll like kind of talk about it.
Okay.
If you ever do you know what a call option is?
Yes.
So effectively, a call option is when you pay money up front, and if the price goes higher, you can redeem it and make more money off that.
Right.
Right.
I've done it before.
Yeah. Perfect.
I've done the opposite, actually. I put option.
Nice. Yeah. So like, exact. So in the same way, like business school is sort of like an inherent floor where like you don't risk, if you were just to buy Apple stock, then let's say Apple stock was $100, right?
Okay.
If you buy one share of Apple stock, the price could go from $100 to $1,000, or go from $100 to zero.
Right.
So you could theoretically lose 100% of your money, right?
Yeah.
An option is like you buy $10, and if the price goes to $1,000, like $10 on the side of like an Apple stock call, if it goes to $1,000, then you make a lot more money. But if it goes lower, then you don't lose anything. You just lose the initial amount you put in for the call option. So that's kind of what business school is in a way.
I see.
It's a very expensive option, but an option nevertheless of, hey, you spend $200,000, but like your upside is incredibly high. Like, but your downside is like you have.
I'm trying to understand something about the options thing though. Like,
yeah,
because when I do it
Yeah.
for, let's say like I use Robinhood, but like when I put in a call option on, let's say, Apple stock, if it doesn't go up because there's like I forgot what it's called, but there's a date where
the expiration date or the expiry.
So once that it expires, it's worth nothing.
Yeah.
So I basically lose all my money still.
Right.
know?
But like, so like to give that example, like a little bit more, flesh it out a little bit more, like in this real world example, like you have $100 Apple stock, or you have an option on that Apple stock, which is like $5.
Okay.
The point is like when you buy the option, you are effectively buying leverage, and you're like, but you're only losing the initial price of the option. It's not like a fluctuating, like, I mean, yeah, it does increase in value, but like it expires worthless, but you're not like losing your entire amount on it, right?
Right.
It's not the same amount. Like buying 100 shares of Apple stock at $100 is going to be way, way, way more expensive.
True.
And way more downside than buying one option that covers 100 shares of Apple stock.
Gotcha. Okay.
So like it's still that initial investment versus like being able to lose everything.
That makes sense. But I think actually in real terms though, I feel like I've lost more money on options than I have just putting. I haven't lost that much money.
Yeah. But like, yeah, I can't help you there. I mean,
no, what I'm saying is
Yeah.
in practice, I feel like buying one Apple stock
Yeah.
is better than, you can say I'm totally wrong about this, but
Yeah.
from my own experience, buying one share of Apple stock and then just holding it for 5 years will eventually get you more money than trying to like buy options and then time the market and being like, it's going to go up or down.
Yeah.
Like, and doing that a lot.
100% agree.
Yeah.
100% agree.
Okay.
The point here though is like, okay, we have to differentiate between like the average investor and an experienced investor, right? In general, I would say if you haven't been investing in like a straightforward long-term way for at least like a year or two, you probably shouldn't go and do options trading, because like you need to really understand what you're doing when you do it.
Yeah.
Like options are inherently leverage. What that means is that like it's an easy way, like people see giant dollar signs like, oh my God, if I pay $10, I could get $5,000 from this, right?
Yeah.
Real stocks don't move that way. The real stock might appreciate from, $100 to $150, 50%, right? But the option will appreciate some multiple of that. So instead of 50%, it might appreciate 5,000%.
Gotcha.
But the problem with that, or 500x or whatever, right? But the problem with that is that you have more like the volatility of an option and the fact that it has an expiry date to make it worthless makes it so that you should only really do it. You have to like consider the expected value of your loss.
You have to like really know if it's going.
Like you're basically, like the best analogy I have is you're playing roulette or blackjack. Or let's say you're playing roulette, right? Like buying an option is like doubling down on a specific number, right? Okay, that's like a simple option strategy, like buying a call or a put. There's many complicated strategies you could do. You could do condors. You could do like hedges or straddles. There's a bunch of different combinations of options that allow you to do anything from like decreasing risk or whatever.
Like putting in like both call and or put and
So there's a ton of
it can go
exactly.
up or down.
There's and then the options there is really fun. Like if you like do the math, like I mean, this is something that's super interesting to me. Like before Wharton, I did the CFA charter. So like I spent like almost 3 years of my life just studying finance and like going really deep into this. But if you like you
do you do it often?
Like I don't trade as much anymore because I feel like you can only really focus on one thing and do it really well. And I've been doing much more on the startup stuff now.
Totally fair.
But yeah, like
I think back in the day when I was trigger happy, that's when I would sometimes gain, sometimes lose on options. But last year when Tesla had their robo taxi event, because I followed Tesla for a long time.
Yeah.
And I noticed this pattern that every time there's an event, the stock always goes down. so I put a put option for $500.
Yeah.
And then the next day after the event, the stock went down.
Nice.
So I ended up getting 1,000 from it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So at the end, I gained 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, wow.
Well, you gained 500, right? Like
no, I gained 1,000.
You sold it for 1,500.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So my bet was 500. I was risking 500.
Yeah.
But in the end, I got a net of 1,000 back.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, it's the easiest $1,000 I've ever made in my life.
Like that, dude. Yeah. That's the thing about investing in general. Like at a certain point of your life, like it will be 90% of your income. Like there's almost like, just from like taking a step back, like the best financial advice I could give anyone is like, you just keep investing and growing your pie, or like your asset base for as much as you can. And then from there, like once you have like, 10K saved up or 50K saved up, like just investing it in the market and the S&P, compounding returns are incredibly powerful. Like it's a crazy fact that I was thinking of recently, like if you have $3 million right now, which is a lot, right? Obviously not many people have that, but the thing that's super interesting is if you have like $3 million right now, in 50 years, or like if you look at the amount of people in the US that have $3 million right now, like it's around 15 million people, right? Mm-hmm. In 50 to 55 years, that like 15 million people will all be billionaires if they just kept it in the market.
Really?
Because if that's just like compounding. If you the S&P returns 7% a year,
right?
Have you heard of the law of 72?
No.
It's a really quick rule of thumb, which is you take 72 or 70, whatever, something close to that number, whatever's easy for you, but 72 has a lot of multiples. Mm-hmm. You take 72 and you basically divide it by the interest rate, or like your expected IRR. So the S&P returns 7%, mm-hmm. right? Let's say 8% to make the math a little bit easier. But mm-hmm. so 72 divided by 8, that's 9, right? Mm-hmm. At 8%, what that means is your money will double every 9 years.
Double every 9 years.
Okay. With the rule of 72, right?
Got it.
So like if you have 100,000 right now, in 9 years, there'll be 200,000. In 18 years, there'll be 400,000. In 27 years, there'll be 800,000.
But that's assuming you start from a high number.
Well, it applies to any number, right?
Yeah, it applies to any number, but like
it sounds more powerful with higher numbers because like people are like, exactly. I don't like, right? But the point is, like, even if you saved $1,000 in like an investment account right now, by the time, if you just keep it invested for long enough periods of time, that $1,000 is going to double. Like in 50 years, it's going to double. Like it's going to be close, I don't know, like 8 times.
Yeah. Right.
That's like 10, let's 2 to the power of 8.
It's like 6.
That's $32,000, right? Yeah. If not, like for just 1,000. So like, and for if it's $2,000, that's like
it doubles every 9 years. You said, right?
Yeah. Like exactly.
So around 6 years. I mean, it doubles 6 times.
Yeah.
So 2 to the power of 6.
6. Yeah. Which is is that 64, right? Actually.
Yeah. So
like like
so
1,064
times whatever you have
exactly.
initially.
Exactly.
So $64,000 at the end.
Yeah, and that's not a lot of money for $1,000 right now, right?
True.
Right. So like that's like people completely, like the biggest thing that people mess up on in terms of wealth is they try to win big instead of prevent losses. Because if you think about that initial base, like that 1,000 isn't a lot, but trying to win big and like go to like 5,000 or whatever could make you lose that initial 1,000, and then it's incredibly hard to get back. You have to basically earn every penny back to get to that 1,000. But if you just prevent losses and just like slowly put money in, like that 1,000 can easily grow to like 10,000 just by you like putting money in or in saving it, and then just like preventing losses and just keeping it staying in the market. 10,000 is $640,000.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm doing it for my Roth IRA, so
yeah, exactly. Like I think like if you want to have fun, like I'm obviously like I say this, but like I have a monkey brain, and I'm just like I want to like do something fun. I want to invest and like do options trading. Like just keep a percentage of wealth that you're willing to lose, and just play around with like high volatility, high risk strategies with that amount.
Just like every year you get like 1,000.
Yeah, it's like you could go to the casino. Or you could like play with like options, or like do something that's like risky, and maybe you win big, and then take 50 or 60% of your winnings, put it back into like your investment account for long-term growth, and the other 40% just like keep fucking double down, like have fun with it. Like,
yeah. Oh, that's a good strategy. I think I'll try to implement that for myself. The 1,000 I got from that, I'll use it.
So you haven't lost it.
I mean, I've traveled to Japan and spent a lot of money.
Money well spent, right? Like,
yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, ever since then, I haven't done any options or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think like it's in my head. I don't have enough knowledge, about how all of these things work. In fact, me doing that back then was kind of like risky because I was like, should I do this or that? Like,
Totally.
which price point should I do? I don't even know. I'm just guessing at that point, right?
Yeah.
So I don't have a full understanding of the math and whatnot. Anyways, we've deviated a bit. Let's get back on the business school track. And so if I wanted to start a business,
Yeah.
because the whole point of this analogy was about that. If I wanted to start a business, you're saying that going to business school is more so like doing a call or something?
In a way. So it's like, what I mean is like the cost of business school, like it's one of the advantages of going to business school, right? Is you have inherent prestige, right? That's like that's what they're charging you, that $200,000 for 2 years. Like
Gotcha.
is, right? They're charging that money to you because they know people will be willing to pay it, because they know that once you have Harvard MBA or like Stanford MBA or Wharton MBA on your resume, people will look at you differently and be more likely to give you opportunity.
Gotcha.
It's like, unfortunately, the name of the game. And like, I feel like it's like, as someone who like,
It's like a medal of honor.
yeah, in a way. Cause like,
look, I'm starting a business and I went to Wharton. I have an MBA from Wharton. Like, would you invest or would you?
exactly. And like for a
Work
lot
with
of
me.
people, like, and I think that's another part of the calculus, which is like, do I have that inherent brand value already? That like, do I have those connections already that will allow me to make a business? Because and kind of going back to like other things that are helpful about the MBA for starting a business, like I think the number one thing I've learned, not necessarily from the MBA, but from the MBA and also just trying to spend time building my own business, is that the thing that makes your business succeed is less about your own ability to like sit in dark corners and like do work and get things done, and more about your ability to find serendipity and distribution and effectively like help that will help you grow. Like
right.
I think
So when you say serendipity and distribution, you mean like people?
yeah, like I mean, like talking to people is the number one thing you can do to increase your chance of success. If you're building a tech startup, or you're building like anything, right? Like the biggest problem people make is like, hey, I have this idea, let me build this, and then let me just kind of hope people want it.
Yeah.
And what in reality, what happens is you build it, and then you kind of sit there
nobody
with your
wants it.
fingers, like yeah, no one wants it. Like you're like
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing right now with my audiobook.
yeah, it's like it's an unfortunate reality, and it's just like
yeah.
it just doesn't lead to success. And like I've had to unlearn that, because I'm the biggest like idea person. I'm like, oh, I got to do this. This makes a ton of sense. I want it, therefore I want to build it.
Yeah,
and then once
yeah.
I build it, people will come. And the reality is like,
Yeah.
no,
I want my own audiobook.
yeah, and like yeah, like unfortunately, like the way the world works is you need to talk to people, and you need to like I was talking to a really cool VC the other day, and the VC,
What's a VC?
sorry, venture capitalist. So like someone who might invest in like a startup, right? And I was like asking about like, you know, what are some traits in like successful founders that you've seen, right? Like what are some of the things that are most important? And he's like, a lot of people think that startups or like the best founders are visionaries, right? People that have great ideas and then are relentless and stubborn and they stick to that idea. In reality, that's not true. What he said is that the best founders are the ones that have ideas, but then consistently check those ideas against reality in as fast an iteration loop as possible.
Okay.
So like having a visionary idea and then going to market or like talking to people and realizing, hey, my idea doesn't make any sense because this is not like what people actually deal with. This is what I thought they dealt with, but I had no idea because I wasn't talking to people, or like I just based it off it. So like I think that's been something I've been trying to do more, which is like go out of kind of project mode and like build things and more into like, let me talk to someone, hear what their pain points actually are, and see like if this is something, see if my thesis is right or not.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's standard. A lot of that is standard advice if you look online, but it's I guess it's not as
Yeah, it's like it's the most obvious,
practiced.
like it's the most obvious thing, right? It's like why build something people don't want, but like it's also like still the most like real problem that most of us have, which is like because like you hear contradictory advice. Like the best founder is someone who's so passionate about their idea that they don't care, like they're going to make this happen either way, which is true. But like you also need to be able to reconcile that with reality, and people don't know which one to follow.
Yeah. I mean, I think the more obvious one to follow is like check that people need whatever you're making. And at least for me, because my future business like path, I think, because I do want to actually legit start more of like a business versus like just solo creation projects.
Yeah.
And for my business, I guess it's mostly, at least the things I want to try for now are like with piano.
Yeah.
Even though right now the first product I'm creating is an audiobook for like learning Japanese. It's mostly because I just want to create it.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And I think it's good practice.
It's important. Yeah.
And like, I want to like know and understand what the process is. And I feel like there is still lessons to be had failing that way because I think, I mean, not that I've failed yet, but I've done the path that is probably least optimal is basically what I'm saying. And I still think there is things to be learned in the least optimal path because now I'm like, shit, I should have just hired someone else to do this voiceover, or shit, I should have like done this scripting in a different way where it's easier for later, or like thought about so many different things that I didn't think about in the beginning and didn't even like try to think about. And I'll take that knowledge and apply it to my piano stuff.
100%.
And for my piano business stuff, I base what I'm going to create. It's mostly like online courses or learning material, because that's mostly what you can do with a business for piano, right?
Yeah.
I base it off of like what I personally have already bought. So I know that there's something
there's
there.
Demand. Yeah.
There's some demand.
100%.
And it's like, I like this. I feel like it's useful, but I feel like there's a lot of missing elements. But in a way, actually, I've thought this to myself this year. I was like, how much of them making money, like the piano course people or what course people in general, is just good marketing versus like
good content.
Their course, good content.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I bought courses that suck ass.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, their marketing was like solid though.
Yeah.
And but their course sucks like so much.
Totally.
And I'm just like, but they're probably still making money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, shit, I should really be focusing on like sales and marketing more. And understanding those skills.
Totally.
But I still want to make a good product, obviously.
Yeah.
The whole combination is when you make the most, right?
Yeah. And I think it's a really interesting point, which is like, it's very dependent on what business you want to make, right? There's kind of two high level classes of businesses, what we'd call like B2B and B2C.
Right.
Business to business, business to consumer. Right?
Yeah. And
like, let's talk more about business to consumer, because we're talking about something that you want to sell to like the average person. Right. And the first thing like that matters most in business to consumer is getting in front of people, right? Because at the end of the day, people, like, it's kind of an interesting thing. Like, there's so many different types of people in the world that there will always be a market and someone to buy what you're selling as long as you're able to get it in front of them.
Got it.
Right. But that's the hard part, which is like business to consumer things take so much money to get in front of people that like you might need, like, you could invest in Instagram ads or Facebook ads or some level of like Google SEO spend. But what ends up happening, and this is kind of a trend now, which is a lot of people building for other people or like consumers, they succeed because they have existing distribution networks through their own personal brand. The cheapest way to be successful is to like build your own following and have people that listen to you because you're popular on TikTok, Insta, other socials.
That's like the creator business right there.
Yeah, exactly. Because like that's inherent distribution. Like you don't have to pay an influencer to sell your thing because you are an influencer, right? And like,
that was like basically my initial strategy when I first started YouTube. But then when I kept going with YouTube, I was like, this is freaking hard.
100%, dude. Yeah, it's not easy.
And at a certain point, you're like, do I want to do this?
Yeah,
I just want to make videos because I like making videos. I don't want to like get big for like a specific niche all the time and just care about all these things and strategize around that and then like make my whole thing about this. It's like, it sounds like a miserable experience in life. I don't know. There's a lot of existential things that happened to me in the past like 5, 6, 7 years that I've done this.
Was there a point in time where you were just sort of like, you ever felt burnt out with like the creative process? How do you deal with that? Because like I think it's a common thing. You just stop.
You stop and you take a break.
Yeah.
And then eventually you come back. It depends on everyone, right?
Yeah.
It depends who you are. I think that is another obvious statement. state a lot of obvious things, but but
Yeah.
each person, right, is faced with the same challenges in life. But each person processes things differently. Somebody might be like the YouTubers who quit, right? They let's say they got big at some point and then now they're getting less and less followers. The way they process that is like, shit, man, I can try harder,
Yeah.
or I can just stop, and because I'm demoralized and I'm burnt out and I'm tired. And then I stopped. So and then but then again, it's another challenge. It's like, do I come back? Do I try again? Or do I just do something else?
Yeah.
And then each person processes that differently and decides differently. And for me, I decide I want to try again, but I'm going to approach it in a different way now.
Yeah.
One that's healthier. And for me, the way I'm doing that is by doing stuff for my second channel where I just post whatever I feel like. And then I practice soft skills, I guess, which is like me talking to a camera or me like getting used to posting.
Yeah.
Because like there's so many different like skills and factors and mental barriers that you have that I'm slowly just breaking down.
100%.
Like I don't even give a shit. I post anything.
Yeah.
Like as long as I'm not like naked in my room or something, or doing stupid shit or like things against the policy of YouTube, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I've gotten really used to that. I was not like that at all, like 2 or 3 years ago.
And I think like the things I've seen about like content creation in general, like completely validates that. Because at the end of the day, like I think there's I was like watching something on like how Mr. Beast got to where he is and like a few other like channels.
Yeah.
And it's always sort of like there's even like this thing where like Ludwig was like, hey, we're going to be completely blind and we're going to get to 1 million subscribers in a few months, or I forgot how long the time period was, but like completely blind without like inherent, like, without my own brand. And like content creation, like anything else, is a skill, and every skill can be broken into smaller parts.
Exactly.
And the way you get good at anything, this applies to both like League of Legends and like any other, like any game, business, whatever, is you find the representative components of whatever the big thing you want to do is, and you try to focus on just that thing, and you get good at that one thing. And then you add more pieces. And there's been tons of science, there's been tons of studies done, and that's like the most effective way to learn something complex faster than other people, which is focus on independent skills.
Yeah. I actually made a video about that like last week.
Oh, sick. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, you got to break it down fundamentally and like
fundamental.
What are the fundamental parts of this freaking skill that you want to learn? And what's the fastest way to get there? You just like really rep it until you reach diminishing returns.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like repping it more is not going to help me anymore. I need to work on the next fundamental skill.
Yeah.
So that's sort of like what I'm doing with my second channel. I'm like, okay, I've repped like being on camera to the point where I'm comfortable like in pretty much any situation. I was not like that before. Now I need to move on to the next skill. What is the next skill? Yeah. So I gotta like figure it out, right? Story. And I keep telling myself storytelling is like something I need to work on. And I also want to work on my skill of producing content where I don't have to edit as much, especially for my own sanity. But also at the point where like my strategy is get to a point where I'm still making money. And then once I'm making that money, I can hire an editor. So they can cover certain weaknesses, certain skills that I didn't work on. Yeah. But it's a slow grind for me right now. But I have a strategy and I'm working on it, and I'm doing it in a healthier way where I'm not like putting all of my efforts into like this main channel, one video, and being like, okay, this has to do well, or all my emotional stakes, all my like mental.
It's an interesting it's interesting, like, I don't know what the right word is, but like it feels a little like I've seen, like, I remember like watching that Mr. Beast video, and he was talking about like how his mentality and like making things better. And his thing is like every video, the next video I produce, I haven't made any content on YouTube, but I think one thing I remember like is that apparently there's like a thing that showcases your last 10 videos and how your video, most recent video compared.
I never look at that.
So apparently though, that like when you look at like Mr. Beast, that's all he looks at. He's like, he just wants to make sure his last video is the best of every video he's made.
But the thing about YouTube, because YouTube is interesting. YouTube is like, you can do things for fun, or you can make a business out of it, or you can like really, really try to be big on YouTube.
Yeah, 100%.
And I feel like you have to decide.
Yeah, you do.
You have to decide like, this is what I want. And I'm going to try to like really, really get good at making sure watch time is okay. They are glued.
Yeah.
Like the pacing is breakneck speed, and you cannot stop watching.
The 10-year-olds are just spasming.
Yeah, otherwise you're gonna miss something,
Yeah.
right? So that's like probably one of the best ways to grow on YouTube is to get watch time to be super high.
Yeah.
And then obviously even before that, like really, really good thumbnails and titles. Like everyone knows this, but like you have to really focus on those things, like 100% if you want to grow a channel. But YouTube can also be like, I just want to make videos for fun.
Yeah. And I think it's healthy that you have kind of like, and a lot of creators do this where they have these like 2 channels where it's like, at some point you will get burnt out trying to put your absolute best. Like if you put your best in anything and you don't see results, it hurts.
It does. Yeah.
And like you sometimes you want to make content or you want to try something new, and that's where like that second channel comes in.
Exactly.
And then you're able to do that.
That's why I like my second channel a lot. But parts of me like my second channel more than my main channel, because my main channel just feels at this point, well, I haven't posted in it for a while, but my main channel feels at this point like just a big like thing in my brain that's like, I kind of don't want to do it. Like there's too much like
pressure.
Yeah. Like, but at the same time, like
I get that.
At a certain point, I'll get to the point where it's like not as much pressure, because I do think the divide, this is the double-edged sword of it, is that now I'm sort of thinking of my main channel as like purely like I got to work on these things and like make watch time really good and make the storytelling and editing and all that stuff, and to the point where it's so big in my head that it's like hard to even like start and do. I'd rather spend more time on like, oh, the stuff for fun.
I totally get that. And I think it's a common thing. Like even when I'm like building my own startup, I'm like building stuff for the core functionality and features, and I'm just like, it's so much. I'm just like, maybe I just want to like, maybe today I'll just focus on something that's minor, like the marketing side, or something that's very like, like it's easy and not as high pressure.
Yeah, but I think my issue is I would be working on my main channel videos, but I'm working on my audiobook right now. It's like I have like limited space for the big project.
Yeah.
I call it the impact sphere. the impact project can only be one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Is how I approach it.
Got it.
So once I get my audiobook done, that's when I'll actually make main channel videos again.
Yeah. Give me a second. I got to like check something.
Yeah.
And we're back.
All right. So enough talking about my stuff. Let's get back to some business stuff.
So yeah, where were we? We were on.
So I guess we got sidetracked by a lot of just like random entrepreneur stuff, and then we're talking about market fit and what the advice you heard from the VP was. Just someone who's very VP venture
capitalist. Yeah.
So yeah, that's good, solid advice. I definitely. For someone who's gone to business school, what do you feel like are like the valuable lessons that you've learned? Like, and also for your track, like, do you learn different things compared to someone who went on the consultant track or the investment track or something?
Yeah, I think it might help to add like a little bit more context. And I'm only going to be able to talk about like the Wharton experience over like, I don't know how it is at every other school, but like when you go into Wharton, you basically have a few different majors you can kind of go into. And these majors are very hand wavy. Like it's not like you pick a major and those are the classes you take. It's more that you can choose whatever classes you want to take, and that determines your major.
Oh, okay.
Right. So it's like, for me personally, I was really interested in startups and I knew I wanted to go down that path. So I like, it's one of those things where like you try to take advantage of everything in that opportunity.
Yeah.
So I took classes that were related to entrepreneurship. So it's one of those things where you take classes that are kind of related to what you're interested in. So I mean, like there was definitely stuff that I thought was really cool. Like one of the classes I really liked was called innovation, and like that class was super fun because basically what you did is like the first week or two of class, you basically submit. I think you have to submit like 11 to 12 ideas of like what you want to build as a startup, right, or as a business. And then there's maybe like 60 other people in the class, and they all submit like 10 or 11 ideas, right? So you end up with like, thousands of ideas. And then there's an idea tournament. So you basically have to rank everyone else's ideas to like, and then the best, like, and then you can see the average rating of every idea that was put into class. So like you have these 1,000 ideas sorted. And then, you do all that, and then you get that data.
Is it like in any market? Like
like this is like super broad.
Okay,
it was like, whatever, like a lot of people were like interested in entrepreneurship, right? So they just pitched the idea they've been thinking about building for a long time. Right. anywhere from like, I want to build a lifestyle business to like make like a piano thing to like, you know, I think there's a presentation I saw that was pretty funny called pee pool, which is like something to clean the pee out of pools. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So basically people got to see what ideas of theirs were like highest rated. And then they basically pitched it in class for 30 seconds. And then there was an immediate break where like half the people that pitched didn't get voted high enough and they had to join another person's team.
Oh, wow.
And
that's
then,
cool.
So basically over the course of the class, you ended up with like a team of 4 people basically working on your idea. And then you had like a final presentation that basically like, you know, people got to invest the money.
Fun. Yeah.
So it was like a fun class, and it like taught, and throughout the process, you're learning a ton about like how to build a business and what's important.
Yeah. How to like pitch it too.
How to pitch it, like how to make that business model canvas, and just all the things that you need. And what's cool about like Wharton and like any of these like good business schools is like a lot of the professors aren't just professors. They're in the field. Like the guy who taught this class, his name is Sergey, probably the most buff dude I've ever met in real life. And he's just he's an angel investor. He's invested in a lot of like businesses, and he's, you know, probably made a good amount of money from some like former students. But, you know, he's a really cool dude, and he's done it in the field, so he knows what people look for.
Gotcha.
So things like that. And then, you know, like people joke that like at Wharton I probably gotten like more free labor than anyone, because I've just gotten so many different friends to like work on my like startup idea because of just the classes and opportunity and being picked and being able to do that.
Gotcha.
So I think there is like, if you come in with a specific thing, you can get a ton of like the number one thing, like I mentioned, that's going to grow your startup is talking to people. And you are able to talk to so many people in business school that it's kind of useful, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
So that's like something that like I could say. Outside of that, I think like there's classes, right? That's like a core thing. But outside of that, there's just so much that you have. People don't remember, or like if you're in this situation, great, good for you. But it's really, people underestimate how nice it is to be a student. Like if you go to someone and you say, hey, I have this business idea. Do you mind like hearing me out, or can I listen to your pain points? It's it's obviously like that's what you want to do, but like it's much easier to say, hey, I'm a student that's working on this idea. Can you listen to me and my pain points? You know, like
yeah. They give more grace to students, I suppose.
Yeah, people give grace to students, even if you're a 30-year-old student. You know, like,
yeah.
So I think there's something really powerful about having that EDU email, being able to like use your network while you're there.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's also a ton of VC and like funding opportunities that are only accessible to students that are like, and specifically within your school, within like your network.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that help.
Out of curiosity, so networking is huge, definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think for me too, I feel like I hardly network with anyone. So I'm like, shit, I need to work on that. So that's, hearing you say that is like one of the top most important things, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, shit, I need to get out of my bubble.
Yeah.
But out of curiosity for your startup, like, is there a journey that you went throughout your school years where it's like, I had this idea, because you said at first you weren't sure if you wanted to like you weren't set with a specific idea. Has that clarified for you more, or?
Yeah, that's a good question. So like I came in, it's also actually a little bit different, where like I came in set on like a specific variation of an idea, and then like through talking to so many people, like a lot of it shifted and became more clear as to like what was actually going to be like valuable and what wasn't. You could like have because everyone you talk to, like it's kind of funny because like you're at a school with, you know, 30% or 40% you want to try to go into consulting, they're going to consult you on your ideas just by talking to them, right? Yeah.
That's true.
So like a lot of what I wanted to do is kind of like changed and formed and like been around that. But like at the end of the day, like I will say, like although that's useful, like talking to people and doing that, like you have to remember like for me personally, like you want to talk, it's okay, like in the early stages, like the very early stages, talking to people about your ideas and getting feedback is helpful, but it's not nearly as helpful, like not even close to like talking to the customers who have that pain point.
Gotcha.
And people that are actually going to buy, right? If you're building something that like you want your friends to use, then it's a lot more useful than like that.
Would you mind sharing a little of what your idea is, or?
So like when I came to business school, I was like working on this startup called Philanthropia. So the idea was pretty simple. Like it was, I wanted, if you won't care about a specific issue like climate change or, you know, social equity and equality, right? There's only so many ways you can support that. You can kind of go to a protest or, like write a letter to a legislator, but you're kind of relying on external things to make change. And I realized, and to me, there was always a gap in like when I wanted to contribute to a specific issue, like say like donate to a charity that like is solving this problem. It's always been so hard for me to like know which charity to donate to that solves that particular problem. So what I really wanted to do and what my business idea was let's make a way that I could create like a community. Anyone could create their own kind of community fund. So like, let's say I wanted to support like Chino Hills charities. I could make a portfolio similar to investing of all the charities in Chino Hills and then just say I'm putting $100 into that every month. That will auto route and basically go to every charity and you'll get like one unified tax receipt, roll up and everything you want.
Okay.
So that's what I was like trying to build, sort of like what I might call like an ETF for charities.
Yeah. I feel like I remember we talked about this. And how did it transform in business school?
Yeah. So like when I came in, there was like very much like B2C business, which is like, I think people are going to donate and they're going to use this to donate. Right. And then what I learned throughout business school and talking to people and just like testing it against reality is that like you could have like this infrastructure and stuff built out, but at the end of the day, people aren't really searching on new ways to donate. Right. Like no one's going to find your product unless you're like marketing it and shoving it down their throats. And then like, unfortunately, like when you're trying to build this type of donation app, like where's your money coming from that you can, shove it down their throats with. Right. Like you're trying to make something that's like for the good of the world and like do things that encourages good behavior. But like one donation is already like a last kind of thinking behavior, which is like, first I need to be set in my own life and then I have money to donate.
Yeah.
And many people have experienced the job market right now and don't have that money in the first place. Yeah. Especially students. Yep. So like that was kind of one thing. And so like I realized that like one donation wasn't like, as we talk about incentives and we like go through this entire process, like I quickly realized that like there needs to be a strong incentive to donate, even if it's like social and very viral, there still needs to be something that incentivizes people to donate. And the second is that like oftentimes just by talking to people and going like, you learn of problems that you didn't know exist. So for example, Wharton is really famous for a lot of retail founders. So like a big founder would be like Warby Parker came from Wharton. Like I'm trying to think who else, like a lot of retail brands. So like Allbirds, for example, came from Wharton.
Gotcha. Never heard of them, but I'm sure they're famous.
You've heard of Allbirds, right? The shoes? Really?
I'm very much in my I buy shoes like once every like 5 to 6 years. So,
okay, interesting. I feel like Allbirds is one of those ones that like was popping off like a few years ago in SF, but
yeah, I feel like in general, I'm like a very not closed off. I talk with people, obviously. I have, hang out with friends and all that stuff, but I don't spend much time like exploring like what's out there in terms of, I'm very much like I'm under a rock, but only for culture.
Call you Patrick Star. But yeah.
It's like when I hang out with my cousins, they always say things I have no idea what they just said. And and like people talk about brands and celebrities and things that are supposed to be known and famous, and I'm just like, I have no idea. Yeah. It's just
totally. Well, I mean, not a big deal either way. But the point of the story is that like I realized from these conversations that like one of the problems that brands have a lot of is like they always claim that they're really socially conscious and that they care about the environment and things, but it's incredibly hard for them to prove it and do so in a real way. So what I kind of realized from that and being able to connect that to Philanthropia is that like I could provide sort of a platform for brands to be able to showcase the issues they care about, like almost like a portfolio of this is the things I've donated to, and make it really easy for consumers to be able to like donate to the same things and see how much real impact has been made through those donations. Okay. And in the process, these brands could provide things like discounts to people that donate. So you end up with this like ecosystem where like you're
right. There's some incentive to do so.
Yeah, where you're like not only like are you contributing to the environment, you're getting like 20%.
That definitely sounds more. Yeah, that sounds more like workable for sure. Yeah, compared to the earlier one.
Yeah. So it's like it's been a lot of that, but then I think ultimately like I'm like So like I built that out and like tested it, and then ultimately like it's something I've currently paused because I think as I built this out, I've realized that it's a two-sided marketplace. So you need to get brands on platform, you have to work with charities, or it's almost a three-sided marketplace. And you have to get like individuals to donate.
Yep.
And it's a really hard problem to solve with very little money after like business school.
Right.
So I think what I've
maybe like a future dream, like our dream project where, you have more experience with working with each of these things.
Exactly. So like my current thought is like I'm still working on startups, but I've taken a lot of what I've learned and a lot of lessons that I learned from like Wharton, and I'm now applying it to like a problem that is really relevant to almost a lot of people today, which is like getting hired and like getting a job in the market, especially with AI.
Yeah.
So like I've been building something that helps you get hired and helps companies hire people based not off their resume, like whether they went to an Ivy League or not, but based off like their skills and whether they can do the job or not.
Yeah, that definitely can help for this economy. I think I did hear though that one, it's hard to market to those people sometimes because they don't have money, because they want to get hired, but the reason they want to get hired is because they want money, right?
Yeah.
But if they don't have money, can they buy your product?
Well, yeah. So my product is tailored towards businesses.
Okay,
so what I do is like, for example, like if you have like if it's it's
a B2B.
B2B, exactly. So like if you are a business that's hiring, let's say you're trying to hire like a data analyst, right? Someone to write like SQL and basically like analyze information from your products. Like what we can do now is like people can, like oftentimes when you're interviewing people, you give people case studies anyway. So that you might be like, okay, like, hey, here's this like data set. Give me a quick like paragraph and analysis on like what insights you can get from it, right? And with like the product I have, like companies can now, it's almost like you create a mini tournament for like applicants where like it's gamified, where people can basically do their best attempt at this like data analysis project.
Gotcha.
And you can see like at the end of the thing, you could see like where you placed amongst people if you're in the X percentile, but also like what the best applicants were. So you get like real feedback on like how you can get better at this type of work. And it becomes a sort of permanent portfolio.
It sounds really cool, but I'm curious about like your basically, since it's B2B, you're offering this product for businesses, right?
Yeah.
And businesses, you're implying that businesses need help with finding people who fit the job, right?
Yeah, I'm saying businesses need help. Maybe finding is the wrong word. Businesses absolutely need help finding the best candidate or the right candidate.
Gotcha. So that's like a problem that exists in the marketplace.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know.
So it's like unfortunately the reality is now like
I'm a freelancer. Just to give context, I'm a freelancer, so I hardly have done much job searching because I always like just do the stuff that I know how to do for people, and they pay me.
Nice. Good to know. Yeah.
But it's good to know, like to understand that this is
I think like the common experience now is like if you're entry level, like you are basically putting job application after job application on LinkedIn or somewhere else, and it's just going to the void. Like companies these days are probably like, even for like an entry level. I remember like last year, I was hiring an intern for Philanthropia, and I got 200 applicants in like 2 weeks of just like basically like, I'm not going to say an unpaid internship, but like something very like it was very low. Like,
right.
It was like more for the learning experience. Yeah. And, like people are just like desperate to like basically find experience and to get a job, especially at the entry level. And then even now, like 3 to 5 years, like post career. Yeah. So there's a ton of companies right now have like a problem identifying the best applicants.
I see.
They also have a problem with bias, which is like, you're going to see like an Ivy League resume, like a Wharton resume, and you're going to think, oh my God, this person like is, like, they're going to think
they'll fit the job, right?
They're going to think this person can learn something.
I see.
But there's some of the smartest people I know have not gone to an Ivy League education. Like I went to public school for undergrad. Like, what I'm trying to do is kind of democratize the playing field so that if people can do the job, they get the job.
Yeah. Right? Make it more merit based.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like that. I like that idea a lot. I feel like I can see all of it now. Because like, when you first introduced it, I was just like, oh, so you're going to help people find jobs. But it's more like you're going to help companies find the best people for the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is like, a much better business idea than trying to help
unemployed people with no money.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. Like the goal, like I think it's useful for people because it's like at the end of the day, like people like we were just talking about like learning skills, right?
Right.
The best way to learn skills is by doing the skill. Right.
Exactly.
And so many people right now are going down these like self-help path of like, I'm going to like learn I'm going to watch a tutorial on how to do it and then never actually do it.
Yep.
So like what I'm trying to do with my product is like make it so that people can just like apply to these like positions, but you can treat them as like projects, right?
Yep.
You like learn by doing the skill that's in demand. And then as you like get better at the skill, companies see that you've consistently been good at that and then they hire you.
Gotcha. So it'll still have a net positive effect for people like that too, or people who are looking for jobs too.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's really just like, unfortunately with your AI, it's like you hear all this talk about like AI agents and like people that AI being able to do the work. And I think the unfortunate reality is there will be a shortage of labor. There will be a shortage of like of roles open. It's either like the amount of work that needs to be done is going to increase by 10x, or like the amount of jobs are going to be like replaced by AI because they can do that same job with like maybe like five times less the cost.
Yep.
Right. So what's going to be incredibly important is showing people like what roles still need humans to do well, and like have character and empathy and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think that this like sort of portfolio approach for like people to really show they can do the job and that they have like they're consistently good at something is going to be incredibly valuable when resumes aren't enough.
Yeah. I agree. It's definitely a problem that it sounds like needs good solutions. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a crazy space right now, but yeah.
Yeah, good luck, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
I'm curious to keep up with the project.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like going back to like business school, right? Like, is there like, do you have any other like specific questions that like, I mean, we talked a little bit about like why you might want to go to business school.
Right. Well, it sounds like basically as of now, the reasons why you would want to go to business school are for a couple of different reasons. Let's say your goal is to start your own business. Then you have the option of starting your own business and, just spending that money that you would have spent for business school for your own thing. And then just experience things and learn things on your own from your own failures in a way. It's almost like you're learning lessons.
The school of hard knocks, right? Like,
yeah. And then the other option is go to business school, learn those things in an environment where it's meant to teach you and where you can meet a lot of other people as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like I can't undersell the ability, like I think there's something that's worth talking about that like I think is really interesting. Business school, and I'm gonna like be very general and people can flame me for this, but it's like, I truly think that education is becoming like in a very like simple way, like going to school and education in school is becoming less valuable now because you have intelligence at your fingertips with AI, right? And that means a lot of what you learn in school is going to be less about like, there's two things, right? Like one, you're like, people have always gone to school for the degree, right? You got the degree, which is the element of like automatic, like, yeah, you check the box and now you can apply to these jobs.
Right.
But like it's just becoming more obvious that that's the case. Like you put in the work, right? But the other side of it is like in a world where like work can be automated in a sense, right? The things that will become important and more important will be being able to talk to people and have like the soft skills, being able to really like have a wide network of people and rely on referrals and a network to really show up and be noticed. And I think in that way, it's almost paradoxically true where like the education part of business school is becoming potentially less valuable with that thesis. But the only school that really matters now is potentially a school where it's completely focused on the soft skills, which is like the business school aspect. So I can't undersell how nice it is to be able to like have like,
right.
Like I have like my class size was I think 850 people. So, and I probably knew like 300 to 400 of them. So
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So like being able to like hit up people in New York or wherever I travel and like in companies that I know of and be able to be like, hey, like how are things going? Let me know if there's a job that pops up.
Yeah.
Pretty valuable.
That is very valuable, I think. I think you make it sound like it's worth it.
It depends. It's personal, right? Like I think there's like, I can give an unequivocal answer and then a biased answer, right? Like, or not biased, but in a somewhat more nuanced answer.
Yeah.
The unequivocal answer is if you are able to get into like an M3 school, like, and you want to go down and your career path is, I want to make money and go to consulting or investment banking, like maybe like if you're not a doctor, like these are probably that's probably the easiest, most structured path to get into like eventually like a $300,000 to $500,000 job.
Yeah.
Because like it's really structured. You just have to show up. You have to be a genuine, like cool and talkative and social person.
Right.
And then, you know, like prove that you're intelligent enough to be able to do the job. And then you can get your way in and you know, end up with like a very structured path. So it's like, it's a very clear opportunity for that. If you're like, and the other thing about consulting and banking that I didn't realize personally before going in is the amount of jobs that look for that as a prerequisite is so surprisingly high.
Really?
Like if you're like a lot of the strategy roles in tech, a lot of like, if you're not an engineer and you want to go to like strategy or like go to market or like chief of staff or whatever
as a prereq,
like almost everyone is like, yeah, preferably 2 to 3 years of consulting experience or something before. But then, yeah, like the other side of it is like, if you're not sure what you want to do and you want to go into entrepreneurship or you want to go into like being an engineer or like going to like other paths, like a creative, right? It may not be worth it because like it's not as structured. It's really dependent on what you do with the opportunities you're given and the opportunities you seize for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like good advice. I feel like that's pretty solid and clear in my head now. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I could have asked AI, but I asked you instead.
I'd be curious. Yeah.
I'm sure AI would have gave some super generic thing, but you have like an actual experience behind you with like the fact that you actually went there and like attended and whatnot. But actually, I'm curious about the soft skill thing. Just maybe like a final question is, I agree with you that school, the value in school is shifting and it's less so about knowledge now because it's at your fingertips, right? Even before AI, like you just look stuff up and figure it out. But AI makes it easier.
Yeah, and has access to more things. Like when I looked up things before, like in Google, it may still have been, you know, like hard to find the answer because you would have to really like go down a bunch of links.
Right.
Now you have like basically expert level intelligence going through all the links and then telling you what the answer is, which is like way
faster.
Way faster.
Yeah, definitely. So let's say if you were to design a school that's still meaningful for the soft skills, like what would it be? Like, what would it be basically? So communication, obviously, right?
Yeah, it's like this is an interesting question because it's like, so we're basically talking now about like, what does the future of work look like, right? Or like, it's okay. Let me ask you that question. Like, are we talking more about what does the future of work look like and how do you prepare for that? Or are we talking more about like a school for soft skills?
School generally is meant for that, right? But at the same time, yeah, I guess school is meant for that, so we can go with that one. Like, but I feel like they're intertwined, right?
Yeah, I can definitely agree. I mean, I think, so let's talk about the future of work question first, right? Like, okay, what is going to be valuable in 5 years or like even 2 years, right? Like with AI being relevant. I think the obvious answer, there's going to be like, there's a report that was done by OpenAI that was, I think, pretty elucidative, which is like basically like you have the bottom 20%. That's the wrong way to say it. That's the wrong way of saying it. If you consider like education levels, like the jobs that are going to be kind of wiped out by AI is going to like, you're going to end up with like the people that are still like trade jobs, people with like high school degrees and kind of under that tend to go to like the trades, still going to be relevant. Then you end up with like an AI kind of dominated thing, which is like people with like just like a bachelor's degree, like standard blue collar work, but not incredibly specialized. And then you have like PhD level, super intelligent, like brilliant people, which is like still relevant. But those people are now getting paid $10 million a year by like top labs because it's like, you know, that it's that valuable. So I think it's like, I think that like middle part that's like gone is really scary to me as someone in that middle part and like a lot of other people. And I think what is incredibly important is because I've been spending a lot of time using AI and doing things is like being able to like be, if you want to be competitive in today's market and like the workforce, you want to be someone who can leverage that like AI tools and technology better than everyone else, right? It may not, I don't think it's going to replace people, but it's going to be like someone said, like AI is not going to replace people. It's going to replace people that don't use AI. And I think that could be, I sort of believe that, but I think the main thing is like, what makes that skill set important and how do you develop that skill set? And that to me, like that's much more clear. Like the things that are important are being able to be a good communicator, because effectively, like you can think of like working with AI as like working with someone who is incredibly good at their job, but incredibly confused a lot of the time. So you have to be really good at providing context and providing the right information and structuring how you delegate tasks.
And I guess that also goes into the fact that you have to practice using it.
Yeah.
Because you become a good communicator yourself when you realize this AI just spit out the wrong answer. And I need to be way more clear with what I want. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
I've encountered that a lot of times.
Yeah, exactly. Like you need to be like, I think like there's this, you know, like this learning curve with using AI, which is like if you, it's like at the very early stages, like AI is an idiot, and at the very late stages, AI is an idiot. But like, you know why? Like, you know, like you basically want to practice like giving context, like knowing how to prompt things, knowing what tools to use and what models to use for specific types of work that need to be done.
Right.
And yeah, like I think that's like the skill set that's going to be incredibly useful. But like it goes back to this like soft skill.
That's what they should teach in school right now.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, like it's funny because it changes all the time, right? So it's almost like the best way to like anyone who calls himself an AI expert right now is full of shit. Like things, unless you're like super deep learning and you're like looking into the math, like the what we're calling AI right now is very like the age of LLMs is very early.
Yeah, it's very remedial.
And it's like very like it's still emerging. Like there's tons of properties that people don't even know about yet because people are just learning about it in real time. And anyone who's like an expert in AI workplace transformation, like how, like you don't like
they're just bullshitting you.
Anything you've used in the last year is probably not the right way to do things this year. You know?
Yeah, it's gonna change. It's gonna change.
It's like, but like those people.
I've encountered that. I've looked up some stuff, and then there's this whole course about like, you know, using AI or whatever to. I don't know, but I don't know their exact sales proposition, but it just seemed like really their whole sales video marketing stuff was them lifestyle, like at rich places and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm like, you haven't even taught anything. You're just showcasing yourself, like living a good life.
That's what sells, right? Like people sell the vision. It is bullshit. But like again, like this goes back to like, are you going to buy the thing that's like, that sounds boring, or are you going to buy the thing that promises a dream, right? Like the marketing matters a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
And people are just capitalizing on the fact that no one knows what's going on, or like the vast majority of people don't know what's going on to be able to sell products. Like,
yep, that's true.
Yeah. But like, I think this goes back to like, the thing is like, if you want to be good at AI, just start building, like start using AI in your daily practice or the work you're trying to get done. Look at YouTube videos on like how people are doing things, and like maybe like, and don't be scared of doing things that are hard, right? Like people get scared about like coding, like cause right now you can use things like Lovable, like Bolt, like Chef, like Base 44, like you know, like even V0.
Yeah, I've heard none of those things.
I just named 5 incredibly useful tools to build any type of application you want to build, but just completely using just no code. Like you could build a fucking running app or like anything you've ever dreamt about.
I'm going to build an app, actually. I have a productivity app in my head.
Yeah, do it. I mean, but the thing is like the barrier to entry has been so, and this goes back to
it's low, right?
It's so low. Like this is the first time in history that you have like access to effectively an entire, like you have the tech stack, you have like the ability to make something that used to take like $500,000 in half a year. You can make that in like 2 days with like AI. It's insane with one person. And like, it's incredible. But like what that also means is that like we're in the situation where like, there's going to be many, many, many startups that exist. And there's going to be many, many like more people asking for money and being in front of you. Like, how are you going to, like, as a business owner, how are you going to differentiate? How are you going to get in front of people? It's not the product that's going to be the thing that
it's going to be the sales and marketing.
It's going to be sales and marketing but again, with sales and marketing, that's a ton of money to spend. So like, it's going to be yourself. It's going to be your brand, most likely, that's going to draw your first users, and you're like, and that could be like both of your virality, but also just being someone who's like there for other people, being able to be like, hey, I'm like gonna personally guarantee it, and it might even turn like back like service based. Just
like trustworthy, just being trustworthy and honest about your product and stuff. And that's why I hate those scammers.
Facts, yeah. It's the Wild West, right? You can like make a ton of money just like promising nothing, and people will pay for it. But it is what it is.
Yeah. Damn. It's interesting. It's so interesting. I'm curious to what will happen in the next year, because I'm definitely going full in on this whole like business stuff. And I don't think I'm going to do business school. It sounds like a great idea for networking and stuff, but I just feel like for me, I already have these things I want to create.
Yeah.
And I just need to create them.
Totally. And
so it's about, like you said, leveraging the tools that are out there that can do it faster, getting to know them. Because, yeah, I think if I tried to build the app that I had in mind like 6 years ago, then it would have been super hard. I mean, the app idea has changed over time, but now if I build it, it should be super easy.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever need a reference or like tips, like, dude, like vibe coding is in, like, make it happen.
I've vibe coded before, plenty, because I had a minor in CS. So, and not that it matters for vibe coding, but but I'm saying that because it still helps to understand.
It does, yeah, it totally does.
Some of the logic of coding.
My personal thesis is like every role is going to become some level of engineer, right? Like whether it be like even for sales, right? Like if I want to hire someone to like run sales for my startup, they I want them to be incredibly social and charismatic first, but then there's going to be like outside of that, like I need them to be able to like make their own efficiency faster. Like, are there tools that can exist that they could just like use to make their meeting process faster, or like software that they're used to, right? So like even like the best salesperson, I think is gonna the best salesperson is gonna have that charisma, but also be able to like kind of like build like vibe code their own like little thing that improves their process.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because like you don't need to know how to code to do stuff, but you got to be an engineer.
Yeah.
Or you got to basically an engineer is a problem solver. You got to be able to solve problems.
Gotcha. Okay, I think with that, that's all I had. I mean, I feel like we could talk about this all day, but
yeah,
but
it's a fun topic.
Stuff. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course, man. Yeah,
honestly, this was a
thank you for having me.
Really, really informative session. Yeah. I think the most informative podcast episode I've had ever.
I don't know if it's a low bar.
No. I've had a lot of my friends on. So I mean, but the topic itself, we always chose like random shit to talk about. So yeah. So this one was a bit more like interesting regarding like everyone wants to make some money, right?
Yeah,
so
totally.
Starting a business is obviously one of like the best ways to actually make more money.
Yeah.
Right. But it's also really hard.
Totally. And I'll say this like to your audience as well. Like if anyone hears this and like wants to like talk to me or like has any advice, happy to like chat. So like you can drop my like link or something in there.
Sure. I'll leave whichever link that you choose.
Email down, basically.
Yeah, down in the description.
Yeah.
And you can also leave a comment and I can message Rohan as well. But that's going to be it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. And thank you for listening if you're just in the podcast. Peace.
I wave like peace.